Dan, here's a question for us. Any tips on hunting from the ground? It's a good question. Something we haven't really talked about on this podcast.
Yeah, I would say really make sure that you're in a good spot, and I mean that in two ways. They really spot you fast on the ground. They're looking for danger on ground level, eye level. They're really paranoid at ground level danger. So you really have to blend in well. Have good front cover usually. Like in a tree, I don't care if there's anything in front of me as long as I got back cover. They'll look right through you. You can lean into the tree. But on
Right.
the ground, it seems like you can't get away with that. You have to be hidden really well. That's number one. And number two is you really have to watch air currents because at ground level, they swirl around a lot more. They don't stay as steady as they do up in a tree and in the air. So you really have to look at thermals, and making sure that, like if you're hunting in the evening, that it's downhill away from where you're expecting deer to come from, or that you're up against, like a stagnant, shallow water that'll pull your thermal over. So the setups are key with ground hunting. You really have to, you have to sacrifice more. Like with trees, I kind of like to be in the exact spot I need to be in. It's hard to do that on the ground because you don't have the right cover and the right kind of wind current aspect to fit that in. And ground hunting is difficult. It's not undoable, but you do lower your odds quite a bit being on the ground. But in some cases, you have to be on the ground. And for some people, trees aren't an option. I got a letter from a fan today that he talked about he fell out of a tree twice and he just can't hunt out of a tree no more.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell those people that that they're going to, they have to give up hunting or something. Hunting can still be done on the ground. I've killed quite a few good bucks off the ground. I just know that I get busted a lot more percentage wise on the ground. So for me, everything's about percentages. It's about, upping those percentages as much as you can so that when you have an interaction, you kill it, So for me, I'm in a tree as often as possible. But on the ground, that's the two main ones is that you really get, into a tangle where you can hide real well, like into a down tree where you can get in between the limbs and stuff, where you don't have any kind of swirling wind going back. Because when they come in, if you get a little swirl here and there, he's going to catch that before he gets to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a old, I don't, people ask me all the time who makes it, and I don't have a clue who makes it. It's a ghillie suit that I wear when I'm on the ground too. And that seems to help quite a bit.
I think on the ground, that thing's really effective, a ghillie suit.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's really helpful is I got like this like bucket hat that's a ghillie. It's a ghillie that goes with the top. I don't wear the bottom usually. And I also have trimmed up like all the crap that's on the left arm for your bow hand, or if you're right-handed to be your right arm, because this stuff gets in the way pretty bad. But I've shot a couple deer on the ground with that thing. I've shot one. I missed one, but the one I missed wasn't.
Another thing about the ground is that when they're coming in, I've noticed that it's a lot harder to notice or hear them on ground level. You hear them more in the trees. You see them coming from a distance in the trees, and they just seem to catch me off guard on the ground a lot. And then to top that, you have a limited shooting window because you're in the brush, you're in the thick stuff.
Yeah,
it's a hard nut.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that do it though. A lot of people like shooting off the ground. So if that's sometimes some places, it's your only option. Sometimes, I mean, to get
some of the best. That's why I've killed a lot of bucks off the ground, is because some of the best spots to hunt bucks are treeless, and that's why the bucks are there, because everybody's hunting out of trees.
Yep.
So I mean, it's a give and take. You got to hunt them where they're at, and you got to use whatever method you can.
That's
I prefer being in the tree, but in a lot of cases, you can't be in the tree at all.
Right.